Alrighty, mining stocks time, guys. For you guys that are interested in mining stocks, this is the video for you. I'm gonna look at the Gdxj, the GDX. Also, be looking at the SIL and the SILJ as well too. Looking at all those mining stocks and what's going on right now. There's a lot of interesting stuff that I want to share with you. Let's get straight into it. Don't place a trade based on what you'll see in this video because there is no guarantees of making a profit in the market. It takes you a long time to become a good trader. So this video here is just to educate you to become a much better trader. Alrighty guys, let's get straight into it right now. A lot of the whole mining stocks, guys, right now, looks like we may be forming some form of bottom, but I'll get to that in just a minute. The first thing I want to mention, guys, on a fundamental level that I see happening, forming over this long-term sort of picture here is this. With all the money printing that is happening right now, with all the injection of the currency, you shouldn't say money, but currency, right? Flooding. And we just keep going, and we just keep going, and we just keep going. Actually, it's really interesting. If you guys have seen Mike Maloney's Hidden Secrets of Money, and I think it's like 7 or 8 series, you will start to see that what he actually said back in 2016 when he did these videos is actually happening right now. Savings, explosions of debt deficits, printing of money, helicopter money, that sort of stuff. It's happening right now. And so what will come eventually of that, of this continued currency pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, there will come a time where inflation really starts to ramp its head. Like really, like we're just starting to see that. Now, yes, we've got big inflation when it comes to asset prices, you know, and also healthcare prices, but when it comes to other, they don't count that, right? But when it comes to just, you know, all the other ingredients they put into the CPI, right? They actually start to look at the, you know, the inflation rate. We're likely to see massive rampant inflation coming along with all the money that's in the system. There's going to come a time where it's a trigger point. Right now, it's not happening because savers are just massively saving. But there's going to come a time where they're going to start to see this massive rampant inflation. And guess what's going to happen to miners and metals? Miners and metals, also especially the miners, are going to go absolutely just nuts. Just burko. Absolute burko. And so if I look at that from a fundamental perspective, that's why this is the decade of the miners and metals. Because of that. Now, what I also say is that if I have a look at, say, the Gdxj and I look at the big long-term picture here, the absolute big long-term picture of the miners and the metals, and we start to see what's going on here, we had what? We had the decade. It was the decade of the stocks from basically 2010 to 2020. I believe, yes, we're going to see some initial big booms in stock markets and stuff like that, but I believe majority of the gains are going to come this decade from the cycles from not stocks. Stocks are going to make big moves up, but they're probably going to make big crashes. I see now the cycle of the last 10 years hasn't been good for miners and metals. I believe what's happening in gold right now, because we've already seen a gold bull market move for the last 12 months, I believe that's a sign of what's likely to come this decade. And so things are going in cycles. So and I'll do this analogy here, right? So as the stock market was going up, so the red line, the blue line is stock market, miners and metals are doing something like this. I believe as we start to do this, then I believe this is the decade here. So this here is the decade. This here is 2020, moving forward to, you know, 2030. I believe this decade is going to be a lot more bullishness for the miners and metals because it's just a cycle of things, right? And so I see that, especially with inflation. So looking at all that, guys, let's have a look at what's going on right now on a technical basis. And let's see what we can see here when it comes to that. Now, the interesting thing about the GDXJ is that I'm noticing that it had a bit of a support level here. It actually had a support level around that sort of $52 level. You can see it actually broke that level there recently. It recently broke down, came sideways, ramped back up, and then found a resistance. And so we need to wait and see if we can get back above, say, this level through here, I would say. If we can get back above and come and close this gap, this here is the gappy on the Gdxj, then I truly believe this here, this level through here would be a final low for many months to come. And exciting moves will probably ensue to the upside. So exciting moves to come on the Gdxj. Moving on through to the GDX. And the same sort of thing as well too. We see this sort of level of like a little bit of support level through here. We're not out of the woodworks yet. Not out of the woodworks yet. We still have this downward resistance level here. We had a little pop to the upside. We just may be getting ready for another drop to the downside. So that's what we could be waiting out for. But when we're looking at this here, we still do have this gap. So just like the Gdxj, this gap here, if we can break out of this resistance line coming down through here and out of this support and resistance line through here, and we start to get back above it like that, oh my goodness, and then we come back up and come and close this gap. To me, once again, I would say that this will be, if we can get that pattern, this would be the final low for many, many months and probably even many years to come before we start to see an overall big move to the upside. We're being in a very big sort of weak pullback. And so therefore I see that happening through there. So big moves coming out of the GDX and Gdxj, and same for the SIL. Silver miner guys, the silver mining stocks guys have held up so much more strongerly than the gold stocks, the gold mining ETFs. So I can see, look at this here. The gold mining ETFs, what did they do? They did something like this. They dropped down and they're actually down here somewhere. Now they're trying to rally back up. Look what actually the SILJ did. Support, rally back up. Now we're just going sideways. So, and actually broken out of this here. Again, we want to see this thing. Can we rally back up towards this gap on the SILJ, which is around that 1550 level? That's somewhere around about there. We want to see that. If we can get that, then this channel, this triangle breakout that we got, triangle down, and now we're going to break out, is likely to see this thing just completely and absolutely nice, really nice move to the upside on the SILJ there. And moving over through the SIL, again, just really exciting stuff with the SIL. We had the support, we had a breakdown past support, held it, and now we're reversing. This here, again, has the makings of being the final low for quite some time to come. Again, there's no guarantees of this, but it's the final low there. The end of trend, the end of the down move before a big boom in the SIL. And that's actually starting to form this pattern here. Very bullish pattern on the SIL. And once again, I want to see this thing break up and come and close this gap here. That's going to give me a bit more confidence. But right now, there's actually a high probability that this is the final low. But I want to see this thing come up and start to rally back up and start to close this gap. And if we can do that, then it's on like Donkey Kong for the silver, the SIL and the SILJ. So guys, on a short-term basis, they're looking really interesting, but we're starting to get a lot of bottoming action on these charts. A lot of false breakouts to the downside, or false breakdowns, if you're going to call it that. A lot of fake breakdowns. And generally they happen at the end of markets, at the end of those moves, before we see what we call a slingshot pattern, which is a breakdown, a nice breakdown before a complete massive remove, and it just slingshots to the upside. So that's what I see there, guys. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about the stuff that I said today. Do you think there's going to be rampant inflation, and therefore do you think it's going to have a big impact on the GDX, Gdxj, the SIL, SILJ, that sort of stuff? And let me know what you think about what's happening right now as well too. So anyway, guys, I'll speak to you soon. Traders, I've been getting a lot of questions asking me about, John, how do I trade the markets? What sort of system do I use? What's my approach, and so on and so forth. So I'm running a free masterclass teaching you my #1 trading system for the last 15 years. This is the most powerful and highest probability system on the planet. And I'm going to just share with you all the details. Plus, I'm going to share with you how I find and scan and do all my trading in 1 hour or less. per day. If you go to johnsfreetraining.com, you can register for this free training that I'm going to run. So go to that right now. I'm going to teach you all the details, and I promise you, once you leave this free training, not only will you know exactly what goes into a good trader, so you could be a good trader, but also you're going to learn my #1 trading system, all the details so you can start to crush it. So go to johnsfreetraining.com, and I look forward to seeing you on the masterclass. Go to johnsfreetraining.com right now.